All right, so we're back with another training session. This time we have Shannon. You want to say your last name? I couldn't pronounce your last name if you pay me money, I don't think.
Franciosa.
Franciosa. So when you see that spelled out, though, I'd never heard it. When you see that spelled out, especially for a guy with fucking dyslexia and there's no way. Like, I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce it again 2 hours later. But what is it?
Franciosa.
Yeah, that's it. So we got Shannon, but a general population client is what it comes down to, lifestyle client, whatever you want to call it. The bottom line is we've done nothing but have bodybuilders here to train with us, right? Between Marina and Riley, they're coaches, they're bodybuilders. While they might be clients of mine, they were initially clients before they became coaches. They are coaches now, so maybe people put them on a little bit of a pedestal, right? Whereas Shannon... is that a bad introduction? She's on a pedestal too, but she's just on a different kind of pedestal, right? She's on the lifestyle client pedestal, who has gotten amazing results. And you are one of the people where we post her picture and it's immediate, like, oh my God, you know, I want that. We get a great deal of, you know, influx as far as inquiries is concerned, a great deal of positive comments when we post pictures of hers, because at the end of the day, it's also one of those stories where it's very reminiscent of where a lot of women might be. You know, we were postpartum when we linked up, what, about 5 months postpartum when we linked up? Yeah, so it was one of those scenarios where it was kind of an uncertain time as far as how the body's reacting to everything, but we essentially got everything right. We've gone through multiple different things of blood work for her to make sure that everything was where it needs to be as far as her general health is concerned before we started pushing training. Training we didn't reinstitute until when? Like after the baby was born or before the baby was born?
Started working together in July, and I didn't get back to the gym until like October.
Yeah, so obviously a good period of time there. I can't do that math in my head, but it's many months before we started to even institute training. Then we went into, like, you know, very, I think we started cardio first. Then we started like one workout here, one workout there. And then we eventually got back to full-blown training. But that entire time, we had yet to really get into any type of significant calorie deficit. In fact, we've been working together for over a year now, and we haven't come close to a significant calorie deficit yet. But the transformation that she's had is pretty good. In fact, this morning we actually had a check-in and we took pictures from the last time we posted, which we kind of thought was like the pinnacle of where her physique was, you know, throughout our process. You know, and we posted where she was at today. We didn't post, we put them together in terms of where she's at today. And even today, where she's been out of the gym for a few weeks, just because it was one of those scenarios where life takes precedence sometimes, right? So again, but the point that I was trying to make there was the pictures from this morning's check-in relative to her last, I guess we say, big check-in, if you would, in terms of results, where if anything, she looks a little bit leaner now, maybe a little bit less definition in terms of some of the muscularity, but even a little bit leaner in the midsection, right? Maybe a little bit less inflammation right now because she has been out of training. But anyway, the physique stood up against that other physique. But again, for a lot of people that are, you know, kind of, you know, again, lifestyle clients that might be struggling with different times throughout the course of the year, you know, you haven't been in the gym for a few weeks, regardless of the reason, you know, again, just life took priority, right? You are a mom, you are, she is a full-time hairdresser, Is hairdresser the right verbiage?
Yeah.
Hairdoer. She's a full-time
Hairstylist.
Hairstylist.
Like,
there you go.
No,
hairstylist. There you go. So full-time hairstylist, wife. At the end of the day, there's a lot of responsibilities there, and sometimes training needs to take a back seat. Sometimes, you know, the lifestyle in general takes a little bit of a back seat, even though we're always consciously making good decisions, better and better decisions, and getting better at that in terms of maintaining the lifestyle. So you never know when you start to match up those pictures. You're not as far off as you might think you were, and that kind of harkens back to our check-in this morning where she thought she's been a little bit off. But anyway, the reality is today we're here to show you what a training session is going to look like for a lifestyle client. And again, interestingly enough, it's another dynamic where, because she hasn't been in the gym very much recently, we don't need to destroy her in terms of, you know, the plan that we have set. Her training plan's been the same training plan for months on months now, but we don't need to go back through that and nail every single thing, train to failure for every set. You'll see how we kind of manipulate things. We're going to pull a couple exercises out, maybe take a couple sets for each exercise instead of the 3 sets that we might have programmed. But again, it's kind of like a very real situation that a lifestyle client might be dealing with, or even a competitive client might be dealing with at a certain point. And that's kind of the idea behind having Shannon with us today and having multiple different people with us over the course of time here, is to show you guys that it's not just, you know, this bodybuilder, it's not just this coach, it's not just myself, it's everybody that we're working with, you know, and the different situations that might happen to these, to all of us as individuals. Anything you want to add,
40-minute intro.
So here we're just trying to get the delts in a shortened position, right? You almost want to brace, like contract your abs a little bit, brace, yep, and now fly out. And up a little bit further. Boom. So we want those to get in the shortened position. So shortened position is essentially referring to like the contracted position, right? Like we want to get these delts to a point, especially the medial delt specifically, to a point where they're fully shortened. Just give me 2 more. We're going to call this a warm-up set. Shannon has a full day of full body split that we're doing. So today you'll see some shoulders, and I don't know what the fuck else is on there. Back, I'm sure, some legs on there, all that good stuff. All right, so we'll continue to warm up here. I think we do one more warm-up set just to, and then we could film. Oh, we're still going. I was going to say, yeah, we're still going. Now you can relax this a little bit. You see how, yeah, boom. Good. Now you got this lion's mane. There you go, much better. Three more. One more. Boom.
What is this?
7.5s.
Right.
So we're going to take this one though for about 15 reps. So we'll see between 15, 20 reps. We'll see where we're starting to get tired here.
All right, let's go.
1, 2. Think to control the end ranges. Keep moving as I'm talking, but think to control the end ranges. So a good pause. That son of a bitch. A good pause at the top. Slowly lower it. Just don't bring it all the way down. Exactly like you've been doing. Pause at the top. Slowly lower it down. Keep going. Boom. Perfect. Boom. Oh, see, now you got to fight at the top, and that's okay. Keep going. It's light enough where you do that. We got 5 more. 5. There you go, just like that. 4. Control it on the way down. 3. 2. 1. Done. Starting to burn a little bit?
A little bit.
Good.
Oh, okay. You want my shoulders to really?
Well, I want to get a set in that's basically going to take us to that point without making you do 1,000,000 reps.
Okay.
So let's go 6 to 8 reps, good quality reps. 1, 2, tighten the abs. 3, 4, you got it. 5, come on. 6, keep it going, Shannon, come on. 7, I think you got 10 on this one. 8, a couple more now. 9, there you go, one more. 10, and now just those little ones. 3 more little ones. 3, come on. 2, one more, just like that. Boom, done. Set.
God.
You remember what you're doing with your elbows and whatnot?
This way.
So big thing here for most people on this is going to be one of 2 things, right? Either they're not well stacked here, where you could even come in just a little bit so that the wrist is on top of the elbow at the bottom. Go ahead. And then the other part of this is we've already yelled at her multiple times on this via check-ins and maybe in person once or twice. She was just reminiscing about where most people are going to come back, right? They're going to be here and then they're going to fly back. Go ahead, press like that. That's where a lot of people are going to end up going, especially as it gets a little bit harder, right? Where we want to be is in this position. Go ahead. And that's going to be best from an overall, joint health perspective in terms of the shoulder, but it's also putting you in a more advantageous position to specifically hit this anterior delt. And the thought process here is where we want to have the intent that we're thinking essentially elbows or biceps to the ear. You're never going to be able to get your bicep to the ear, obviously, but that's the way you want to think. A couple more. And now this, you want to just keep it, boom. You don't need to go too far forward.
Oh, we're burning.
Let it burn. 2 more. We've already removed 1 delt exercise for her, so we can take these a little bit further. A couple more. Come on. 1 more now. Control it on the way down. Come on. She's resting at the bottom. Control it now. Boom, there you go. And I think one key thing that we want to see here too is, like, again, having a lifestyle client is a little bit different than a bodybuilding client, if you would, is the reality of we still want to take sets to the same place. Like, we're all looking for the same thing, which is the muscular development. So at the end of the day, if we could take her a little bit closer to that point of failure, we don't have to reach any egregious point of failure or die on a set. Not every set necessarily, but we want to get close to failure as we can, right? And that's going to look differently for everybody. And essentially that was getting pretty damn close to failure there. She's probably like, you know, anywhere between like a 2 or 3 RIR, which is close enough to failure for us to get the gains that we're looking for. So we'll rest here and we'll go into another one. But I think we're gonna put on like 5 pounds.
Oh.
Make sure those wrists are on top of the elbows at the bottom, you're good. Boom. Four. Up, control on the way down. 5. A little bit more explosive on the way up. There you go, come on. Just like that. You got 2 or 3 more. Come on, think biceps to the ears. Come on, I got you, I got you, I got you. Boom, all the way down, nice and controlled, done. There we go. See, I knew we'd find it. That's we're trying to find that point to where sets get really hard. Again, it doesn't have to be that crazy intensity. I'm a bodybuilder with a dumbbell, you know, but at the end of the day, for anybody, we're trying to get to that point where sets are gonna be hard.
Did you count?
Yeah, that was like 8.
Forget it.
Back here is where we get the counterbalance on this. 3, 4, 5. Come on. I'm with you. 6. Come on. 7. Give me one more. I'm with you. Drive it up. Come on. There you go. You got it. Control it on the way down. Boom.
Oh, that was brutal.
Not very intense, but she's giggling.
That was horrible.
But it's okay. We'll make it work. We'll
Oh,
make it work.
man.
It was a good set. We want that. I think honestly that's the thing. I think for some women or some people in general, where it's like they get to that point and they hate it because A, it's uncomfortable, right? But then B, it's a feeling of failure almost. Like, oh, I can't get it. Am I right? You can be honest. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm not super concerned about failure, because like there's certain times when I'm like, we're riding it, like we're riding till the wheels fall off.
But at other times like that, do you feel, is there any type of like negative feeling towards the concept of failing?
Yeah, it sucks and I don't want to do this.
Right.
Like that was
just because it's too hard though, or because it's like the idea that I failed?
Because it's too hard.
Yeah, so there you go. I think it could go either way. I think for some people there is that attachment to the fact that they're like failing and they should be getting the rep, but the reality is that's what we're here for, to find that point, right? So, all right, we'll move on. So this is a Goulden row, right? Named after Michael Goulden, the guy that created it. But basically all we're doing, you can go ahead and go through the exercise.
All right.
Basically all we're doing is we have the cuff, obviously, that's attached to the cable that's providing us additional resistance, right? That's gonna help us drive a little bit more into the lat, versus just a dumbbell that's basically going to be based off of, you know, as it's coming up, it's going to load a little bit heavier. But again, that's going to be primarily upper back. When you're training just a one-arm dumbbell row, that's going to be primarily upper back and some lat. This is going to help us get a lot more into the additional lat fibers, or additional lat divisions. Where are we at? What number are we at?
7.
So what we want to see here though is this is coming forward a little bit, that's fine, but as long as we're retracting that shoulder hard and that shoulder is coming back. And then what we want to always be thinking when we're doing any back movement is that my elbow's coming down, right? And that's where this resistance definitely helps. Boom, there you go. You feel that up here?
Yep.
Boom. And now we want to make sure that we keep it all together in the sense that the shoulder has to come back, but we're still driving the elbow back towards my body. Boom. What number are we at?
I don't know.
Oh God. 8.
You messed me up.
It's 8. It's definitely 8. 9. 10. 2 more. 11. 1 more. 12. Now the one thing I would say here is, I got it. We probably want to keep this cuff more on the elbow itself so that as we're driving back, we're getting that. And now the one thing I want to show you is, and we'll do it if you want to come around on this side so the camera can see. Again, where she's at primarily is coming back, and there's a little bit of internal rotation at that shoulder. So you see here my shoulder is forward, right? And this is common for a lot of people. They're protracting to get a good stretch, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but then they're not closing that off, and they're bringing that elbow back, and now my shoulder is forward. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So what we want is this, right? So if we're gonna come forward, we need to come back. See how much space I can take up there?
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of space to take up there, so we wanna drive that back, drive the elbow back and down, and now we have a much better rep rather than this, right? The lat can attach up, the lat attaches up here, so at the end of the day, if this is forward, we're not getting nearly as closed off or contract as we want to, right?
Yeah. Let him do what he wants to do. Leave him alone.
He's not even supposed to be in this video.
Leave him alone.
We're clipping that. 6, 7, 8, done there. See how she's set up with 3 points of contact, right? The arm, the knee, and the foot on this side. I see some people that are, and I would personally, end up in a certain, it's okay as long as you're making sure that you're generating enough stability, but I like to try to maximize stability of every single movement, and in this case, having 3 points, right, again, allows us a little bit more stability than we might get in a scenario where we're hanging over the dumbbell rack maybe, right? So it's worth the consideration. The more stability we have, the better contraction we're gonna get, the better it's gonna be for muscle development. What number are we at?
8.
Gotta get that shoulder back. Oh, okay.
That was 8. What happens when all their fossils run out? Then what? They're just like out of work, out of business.
Well, obviously it's supply and demand. So as the fossils, as the teeth of Megalodon start to run dry, the rings are gonna get more expensive. So I'm trying to get in now at the floor level of this.
Get in
right?
now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in now.
Invest your money in Megalodon
I'm gonna
teeth.
have a stock of Megalodon teeth, and then when Megalodon teeth starts to become more extinct than they already are,
They're gonna be worth so much money.
and who's gonna have Megalodon rings?
Whatever.
3, 4, 5, 6. Stay in it now. 7. Don't rush too much. 8. Lock down that torso. 9. Come on, just like that. Try to get back as far as you can. That's it. Give me one more. Boom, done. Whenever you have a bilateral movement like this, right, you do want to give yourself some time to rest in between arms. Right? I know the thought process is we tax this side, now we can tax that side, but there's other things to consider there, right? Especially from like an oxygen standpoint. We want to make sure that we stop, we breathe a little bit, we allow those energetic systems to recover before we go into the next side. What number are we on?
7.
8. That didn't sound very convincing. Good. 9. I'm with you now a little bit. 10. One more. Come on, you got it. Boom. Done. So we did a good job there. Again, our goal here is to find that mechanical failure point where things are starting to break down a little bit. And I think we did that without, beating the shit out of her so far. But we still have a whole nother subsection here as far as legs to go.
I don't like that tone in your voice.
Here we're going to do the max kickback. We're going to get the glutes in the shorter position first before we go into the rest of our lower body. And essentially what we want to do is set up here is put ourselves in a position where that glute will be loaded in the lengthened position, right? So for her, what we did, we're basically going to take somebody, we're going to have them line up just straight and bring, how far can I get this up, right? Without tilting at the hips, right? Yeah, there we go. Now I'm loading in that lengthened position of the glute here. So we want to set ourselves up to where this cable is essentially still able to pull us up a little bit in that lengthened position, if that makes sense, right? And then from there, we're driving down, but that's also why she's elevated here to be able to give us that full range that we're looking for. There you go. 5. 7. 9. One more. Boom. Now we're going to the side. So one thing you want to be careful with on these is that the way that you're manipulating your body, so to speak, right? Like the one thing for her, you'll see when she gets a little bit fatigued, it's almost like she's using her entire body to drive that down. That's where you're going to get a little bit more momentum. Right? And that's where we have to be careful in terms of like what is actual mechanical failure. You know what I mean? We want to stay braced, we want to stay locked in. We don't want to see too much movement with that upper body here. What number are we on? Ooh, look at her, she can count. 7, 10, 11. More. 12, done. So we got kind of like a unique setup here as far as I'm concerned. We just put it together now. I mean, obviously anything could work here if you have your bench, your foot on something. Obviously we like that pad, it rotates, it's easy on the foot itself. Is that 2?
This is 4.
4, that's what I said.
I swear to God, if you lose count on these.
5, as you can tell, everybody likes their split squats. 6, 7, 8, 9, don't get the weight. 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 other side. The one thing that you do want to be careful with these is to not, like I just said, lead with the weight and have that weight essentially dragging your upper half down. Obviously there's going to be a point where things get heavier, right? And that's perfectly fine. I'd also say that's where maybe you want to strap up. A little bit more towards me.
More?
4. I always program 7 to keep count while I'm talking.
8.
9. I always try to get people to understand, again, stability, we talked about that before, and how important stability is. That's where you'll see these commonly with people that have 2 dumbbells in their hand. I'm not saying that's wrong by any stretch of the imagination. You're going to get additional recruitment potentially as far as stabilization is concerned, but when you're doing these without any type of support there, you're definitely reducing the amount of stability that you can get. In turn, you're reducing the amount of tension that you can get in any particular musculature.
Bye.
All right. We're going to increase the weight now. There you go. 1, 2, 4, rush it. Pause for a second, let's go back up. 6, push the floor away. 7, pause the bottom, push the floor away. Don't rush on the eccentric. Is this 9?
This is 10.
That's what I said.
I don't know.
I think she just skipped one, right? 11, come on. Pause the bottom now, pause the bottom, drive up.
Done?
No, you got 3 more.
What?
Pause the bottom, boom. 2 more. Pause the bottom, boom, 1 more. Oh yeah, now she's shaking. Done. That's how you break your toes. So she was just telling me, she saw one of my other clients and she actually referred to us, our friend Carol, and she was just telling me how good Carol looks. Carol's been through I would say, a typical process, right, for a lifestyle client. Actually, Carol doesn't even go to the gym. Carol's one of those clients that we have where time frame doesn't allow her to go to the gym. It's probably going to cause more stress than what's necessary. We're over here talking about Carol. Hopefully Carol even watches this one. But she's in one of those situations where she has her own business. She has 3 kids. Two kids. And it's just one of those things where she's tried every diet before this, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, all that different things.
Yeah, like all the shit. You cut out all the carbs and no sugar and no this, and then you drop 100 pounds, and then the second you start eating again, you gain it all back.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying to her, like, because she was talking about how good Carol looks, which we appreciate, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things where Carol's lost an average of like 2 to 3 pounds a month, right? At best, probably 3 pounds per month, but she's lost it consistently now over like 4 or 5 months we've been working together. So she's down a total like 20 to 25 pounds over that time. But A, it looks good, and B, it's one of those things where it's truly sustainable. I think if you ask her right now, as of yesterday's check-in, she checks in on Monday, she is eating close to like 2,000 calories a day. I would say like 1,900 calories a day, every single day, right? She used to have weekends where a little bit higher, Monday through Friday was a little bit different, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, we just pushed it all to like one average course across the course of the week. And she's somebody where, again, with the kids, the business, there's going to be times where she's not 100%, and that's okay. You know, the reality is that over a long period of time, she's been very consistent and diligent with changing her habits, changing her lifestyle, and now, you know, she has a friend that was completely totally unsolicited. She just brought up Carol Sarr for the first time in a while, and we don't see somebody for that long. Those little differences are noticeable, and I'm sure, you know, Carol would be the first person to say that we're not finished yet. Right? We still have a decent bit to go with Carol, but at the end of the day, the progress is there, and it's just, it makes me feel good when I hear you say things like, you know, she's tried it before, and like she's gained weight back. It's like, that's exactly where I would say we've gone right with something like Carol, where calorically she's eating well enough that she's not starving right then. It's easier for her to get good at, you know, keeping count of her food, taking accountability for some of the things that come with eating out, eating here, eating there. The weekends get sped up when the kids are home and all that different stuff. So she's in a position where it's easy to get good at managing your nutrition, or the way somebody's dieting, when your calories are high enough that you're not starving your fucking face off.
Yeah.
Whereas other people, like I said, we could put Carol in a system where she would lose probably, you know, her body's responsible. She would lose whatever, 30, 40, 50 pounds in a, you know, 14, 20 week time frame, but the reality is she'll just gain all that shit right back. But anyway, I thought it was cool that she had brought that up, and, you know, it was just good marketing. Good marketing. Another thing is probably notable here is the fact that she's on top of her quad. Keep check now.
6.
Where some people will set up where that foot is so far back away from their body, what you're doing is you're changing where you're going to be loading that exercise, or you're changing the effectiveness of the loading, if you would, right? This is going to make it a little bit harder, which is what we want, obviously. Oh yeah. Hold right there. We're gonna take a pause at the bottom. Boom, drive. There you go, just like that. Pause, drive. Pause, drive. Pause. 6. Come on now. 7. Pause. 8. Come on, good pause down there, Shannon. Come on. 9. You got it now. Come on. Pause. Drive. 10. Drive. 11. Don't rest too much up top. Come on. Let it suck. Drive. 12. Come on. Drive. 13. Come on, you got a few more. Let's go. 14. Don't rest at the top. Come on, right back into it. Drive. 15. Don't rest at the top. Come on. Come on, you got it. Come on. I want a couple more. Don't rest at the bottom either. Drive. Keep it consistent now. Come on. 2 more. Come on. Drive. 1 more. Boom, rack. For the record, she had a lot more there. Just saying. Remember, legs are always going to come down to mind over matter. You right there, Shannon?
Like you care.
One more.
How many reps am I doing? Because I have like...
As many as we can get. Oh. Don't get too crazy now. Right there. Right there. Go down, boom. Slow it down a little bit. Drive. 9, slow it down a little bit. Boom, right there. Come on. Slow it down a little bit. Come on. 5 more now. Come on. 3, no rest at the top, right back in, come on. 2, again. Boom, rack.
One more?
Nope, you're good. I discounted there by 1. But at the end of the day, one thing that we can take away from this though is that she can definitely go up in weight when she's training on her own. 100%. And that's going to be true for the most people, but again, especially on a movement like this, and you got to be careful because once you start to speed up too much sometimes, now you're getting so much more out of it. And I said on a previous video too, that I'm okay if somebody speeds up a little bit on these when we are working through an AMRAP or a top set. That's all fine and well, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you understand what control is through the range first, you know what I mean? With this one, I think sometimes when we do get too amped up too, we have the music going and everything, it's just one of those things. And then she asked for a rep range. We have that rep range. It's almost like a sprint to the finish. Sometimes we need to slow down and make sure that it's a little bit more challenging through that entire set. And just, you know, live through the suck. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. This is going to be one of those exercises, though, especially the way we program with a higher rep range, where you're going to hit a good deal of metabolic fatigue throughout, right? Like you're going to end up with a lot of that burn, and it's going to have to be one of those sensations, one of those moments where it's mind over matter as far as the sensations that you're going to get. But nonetheless, good set.
I couldn't hear shit you were saying to me.
Really? Way to go! Way to go!
It was so loud in there.
I hope we're getting like a good amount of like breath going into the speaker right now, so that we can amplify that a little bit. But how'd you feel?
Good.
Yeah?
I'm gonna be really screwed.
That's it? That's all you got for the people?
I'm gonna be really screwed the next couple days.
She's gonna be screwed the next couple days. So she's gonna be sore. There's no two ways around that. We do it. And honestly, for the video, we push her a little bit harder today than we needed to. That was a good mixture of not going crazy. But I think it was also one of those things where it could be a little eye-opening too, where it's like you haven't trained in a while, but yet you were pushing relatively heavy weights compared to what you would typically do. And when you put yourself in certain situations, obviously it's gonna be a little bit easier to overcome those mind over matter situations like it was today. So, you know, it's one of those things where there's a lot of takeaways, I think, for yourself as far as going forward. But then also, in terms of takeaways as far as this video is concerned for the people watching it, I just wanted to make sure that we put in perspective how, you know, it's, again, failure is that thing that we want to be able to find, right? When it comes to training. Failure is one of those things that's almost a prerequisite to muscle development when we're talking about training. Muscle development is a prerequisite to, you know, changing the way your physique might look, improving it for the better, if you would, right? A lot of people are working out enough. They're probably working out too much, right? So the volume is there. It's just the quality of work that they're doing probably isn't up to par. So today we took her through those sets, and you guys saw a little bit of coming closer to that mechanical failure point. But it might not be a crazy screaming or, you know, shouting or whatever, you know, loud music playing, all that type of like crazy stuff that's so dramatic, right? It might not be that dramatic, but at the end of the day, it's there. You just have to find it for yourself. Any closing thoughts?
No, I mean, I feel good, and it's just nice to see what your body can do.
So it's okay if I build the Francoise this week for calf implants?
I mean, if that's
She said yes. She didn't say no. That's it. Close the clip.